Good relationship in investment in real estate saves you a lot of money.
Right, so let's talk about that because tenants absolutely affect our investment value. So a positive tenant relationship is going to be absolutely integral to making sure that this home stays sharp, stays worthy, investment stays up and keep. So it's not a high cost to keep a good tenant, but it's typically a good tenant is going to take better care of your property. High turnover is going to mean you're constantly having vacancy rates. So you're constantly paying for things. It can be time consuming. So lower vacancy, lower repair costs, because if you take care of things before they become big things, it will save you money over time.
Exactly.
And so let's talk about how.
Exactly. Therefore, we wanted to really talk about establishing effective communication. And here, that is a cornerstone really within the tenant relationship, no? And what we should do.
Be proactive. So if the tenant has a request and it's a valid request, the sink is loose, be proactive about these things. Maybe you don't need a full plumber, but you can do something with a screwdriver. So making sure that phone calls are answered. Tenants have a way to tell you about the problems, because if you can communicate about a problem, it won't never turn into a huge plumbing issue. Maybe it was just a simple repair that you could have used your screwdriver for. So if you can keep things on the cheap, then why aren't we keeping things? Why let things explode because we're not taking care of anything?
Exactly. Therefore, submitting the maintenance request and receiving and updating and making sure that everything is documented and has a document trail is going to help you with that communication.
And then also tenants are going to really appreciate that communication line and things we're taking care of, because that is going to keep the tenant in place.
The next thing is really tenant screening process. That is one of the important, because that's going to secure your investment in real estate, having a good tenant. And what is that processing and screening?
Well, they're going to check their credit report. They're going to see their rental history, their employment, their references. They're going to see who took care of properties well in the past, who pays their rent on time. And this is going to be something that is going to be there. Now, for instance, if a red flag comes up that they had some sort of eviction, you don't want to take that risk because they had an eviction already, and that's your choice, of course, but is that you need to know what the red flags are.
Exactly. Before we go into the next topic, let's hit it.
Hi, it's Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast and YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and get notified.
Also, you call text all the time, 252-327-3357. We love talking to you. Don't be shy. Also, grab our buyer's guide and seller's guide in the description below. Let's talk about maintenance and repairs, because I already kind of talked about it a little bit, but regular repairs, regular maintenance, regular checks to address the repairs really do keep the prices down. We're not talking about the prices going up, because if you don't fix a problem, for instance, if there was a small plumbing issue and then it becomes a huge gaping pipe burst because we never fixed the small issue, then that's going to cost a lot more money than fixing the simple thing that we were talking about at the beginning. So you want to preserve the property value, preserve the tenants that are good, and you want to do regular scheduled maintenance because it builds you as a reliable person. You also have have contractors for repairs and things like that. So I would say make sure the HVACs get those tune-ups
every 6 months.
It's going to save you in the long run for those more expensive repairs, and tenants are going to like you because their electric bill is lower.
Exactly. Therefore, the next thing is lease agreement and the policies. This is also one of those areas that is super important, dealing with the rules and expectation, which is really includes the rent payment terms or maintenance responsibility and house rules, no?
Right.
And this should be specified in your lease agreement with the tenant, that who is responsible for what.
Absolutely.
No? Of course, as a landlord, you are responsible for the maintenance
But maybe it's not the lawn. Maybe you're telling the tenants they have to mow the lawn. That has to be in the agreement.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to set clear expectations right from the start, and then that makes everything smooth as icing on the cake.
Exactly. The next thing that we wanted to talk about is security deposit and rent collection. Of course, depends on which state you're living. We live in a North Carolina state, and in North Carolina, regulation is that you cannot collect more than 2 months of deposit in the 12 whole months. Therefore, that is part of the rules in North Carolina.
I don't know, but I can tell you that making sure you have a regular way to collect rent is absolutely crucial. You're not just knocking on doors to collect your money. This is a state compliant rules to where you have maybe it's an online payment system. Maybe it's put the money in this place. But as long as tenants have an easy way to pay you, tenants like the easy way of paying you, you like easy ways of being paid. So covering the financial aspects in that tenant agreement and making sure you know what the security deposits are and rent collections are is important. And I don't know what the rule is for security deposits in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's the rules of the North Carolina, 2 months. Therefore, the next thing we wanted to talk about, confliction resolution and eviction process. What is that?
Okay, so let's just hypothetically, hopefully it never happens to you, but if somebody is a bad tenant and we want to get rid of them, we need to follow the procedures in order to get rid of them properly. Exactly. So evictions are where you have to kind of, the agreement is agreeing at such and stage. Always the best thing to do is disarm a situation by doing it peacefully, amicably, but be prepared to follow the law if you absolutely need to. Because you don't need to have, two tenants are having an issue on noise. That is not necessarily reason to where, if you can resolve it, you're going to keep both tenants and you're not having to evict anybody. Now, exactly. If the situation is a different problem, that's going to be, the more problems you have, the more it's going to cost you money. Even if it's just a vacancy rate.
The next thing is regular property inspection. This is super important because you pretty much ensure the lease compliance and also identify any issues and repairs that might cost you a lot in the near future. And when you do this inspection, and this helps you to maintain in a lower amount, and also you must to notify the tenant in advance and respect their privacy during the inspections. And do you want to add anything to this?
No, I think that's good. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, of course, tenant renewals and exit process. So we want to encourage good tenants to renew, of course. Maybe you want to offer small upgrades, no rent increase. Maybe that's something you're thinking about for that year. But have clearly defined exit processes for when tenants choose to move out, including inspections, return of security deposits. Make sure that if the tenant has to have a professional carpet clean, it should have been in the paperwork to begin with. Or you're offering that professional carpet clean for people to stay as well. Maybe that's an incentive to stay because it would be great to have a professional carpet clean.
Exactly. The next thing that we wanted to talk about is understanding the compliance with the fair housing law. And always make sure that you are in compliance with the housing law and protecting tenants from any kind of discrimination. And violation actually has a very heavy fine from the government and damage also to your reputation.
Right, so you're not going to say things like great for families, great school zones, ideal for single professionals. These are language that are definitely going to flag you for discrimination, and you don't want that.
Exactly. The next thing is property manager legal responsibility and liability.
Right. So be aware of legal responsibilities, especially if you're your own property manager, which would include everything from ensuring property safety to handling personal information about those tenants appropriately. So make sure that walking away is clear, and you're dealing with snow and ice and you're moving it if you need to. You're just making sure you're not putting yourself in danger for liabilities in any sort of way. So you want to make sure that you are there to make sure that you're not getting yourself in trouble.
Exactly. The next one is the advanced tenant retention strategy, which this one is actually help you such as good communications and recognizing the tenant anniversaries, which is kind of cool, and the quick response to any complaint that they might have. These efforts actually can lead to higher tenant retention and satisfaction and longer stay if you're getting a good rent from the tenant.
So even if you get once a year, a small little gift back that says, thank you for being such a great resident, people really value the small gifts and tokens of appreciation. And this fosters people want to stay with you longer. It helps your bottom line. And keeping tenants content doesn't really cost you too much. It is courteous, and it is also very effective because people like to talk to people that they know take care of them too. So showing small gifts and appreciation, you're getting all that rent is going to help for them.
Don't forget to call Alan Victoria, a local real estate agent in Greenville and Pitt County, North Carolina. We'd love to help you if you're investors or the normal home buyer. And please also look at these videos. We'd love to connect with you next time.